Emergency management projects are just one aspect of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers mission. Here in Mount Charleston, just outside Las Vegas, Nevada, the Los Angeles District is working together with the state of Nevada and the U.S. Forest Service to put emergency management to work. Work began October 9th on a berm and diversion channel structure which will run more than half a mile through the Spring Mountain National Recreation Area. The need for the structure came about because of a fire in 2013 that devastated the mountain. With much of the vegetation destroyed by the fire, the rain which came within weeks had nothing to divert it from the neighborhood. In February 2014, the state of Nevada requested assistance from the Corps of Engineers under its Advanced Measures Authority. After receiving authorization and funding from headquarters, the LA District began working on surveying and designing the project. Once the state of Nevada agreed to assume accountability as the local sponsor, the district and Forest Service went to work.
All their designing, all their engineering, and they all figured it out to use half the valley. We didn't lose all the trees. The whole other eastern side of this valley is still there. It's still beautiful. So, yeah, it's wonderful.
Members of the U.S. Forest Service use equipment like this to clear the trees from the work site. During the initial phase of construction, the Forest Service cleared out around 200 trees.
And it took about 7 days to get all the trees cut and hauled out of here, all the root wads moved out. And then at that point we started laying out our clearing limits and doing all the grubbing and clearing and getting a perimeter of the disturbance area established.
The Los Angeles District designed the $3 million structure for a 25-year rain event, an event which has a 4% chance of being equaled or exceeded in any given year. The district also served as construction manager.
When we work with other agencies, it's a team effort to get the project completed. We work hand in hand, and we converse back and forth and make sure that the project is going as well as the design is allowing it to do.
And normally I know the Corps of Engineers does work with contractors, so that under a normal circumstance for the Corps they would probably have a contractor in here instead of another federal agency actually doing the construction work. So this project has all federal employees running the equipment and actually doing the work. So we've got our federal surveyors up here, we've got our engineers, we've got our equipment operators, we've got our fire crew up here doing all the logging operations, and we brought people in from all around the country. So that is one of the neat things about this, that we've got this large pool of people that have come in from a lot of different areas to help us get the work done.
Well, I think that's great. It just goes to show that interagency cooperation is essential, you know, and having the Army Corps, the Forest Service, Clark County, you know, all involved in it, you know, that amounts to, you know, a good feeling within the community that the agencies are willing to work together.
Another interesting aspect of the project was the fact that it was constructed under the Corps of Engineers Advanced Measures Program. Under that program, the district could design and build a structure to reduce the flood risk to residents and critical infrastructure. By regulation, the structure had to be designed to be temporary, and there needed to be a local sponsor to undertake operation and maintenance of the structure once it was complete. The local sponsor also had to agree to remove the structure once its useful life had passed.
Our role as the Nevada Department of Transportation, we have the kind of the personnel and the equipment and the background to basically take care of the construction and the maintenance and some of those areas. The Department of Conservation and Natural Resources bring other things to the table because they have the forestry, so they're looking more at the biology and the forestry piece of it. And of course, the Department of Emergency Management is coordinating everything. So our role will be to monitor it. We will be part of the negotiations with the county in order to do the day-to-day maintenance. But ultimately, it'll still be the state's responsibility, which will be vested through NDOT to make sure that the berm continues to be maintained while it's in its useful life. Once it's determined that it's no longer needed, then our job will be to make sure that it gets removed.
When they began the project, the Forest Service put up a closure order around the construction area. The area was marked by yellow safety tape, and flaggers were in place during work hours to detour motorists away.
We want to make sure that we don't have any incidents with vehicles meeting each other on a corner. We're running some really large trucks up and down the road that take up the entire width of the road, so there's nowhere for a vehicle that's going the opposite direction to get out of the way. So we're managing all those issues there with local traffic, people trying to get to and from their house for work or whatever they're going to do, and enable our construction operation to go on.
With construction equipment running about 12 hours a day for 13 out of every 14 days, the Forest Service and Corps of Engineers were concerned about the effect the noise might have on the residents. However, the planning and steps taken by the construction crew mitigated disruption for residents.
The noise has not been a problem because they don't really start until, you know, like they said, they were starting at 5 or 6 o'clock, you know, but they don't start that early. And I think with Becky and myself, I don't care because I'm awake at 4:30, 5 o'clock anyhow, so it don't matter to me. I just, you know, hearing the noise. But the noise is far enough back, and with them digging the berms and things like they are, that actually helps to mitigate the noise. The noise really does not come over that bad. If you're down a block or so down the street, you really don't hear the equipment that much. It's very, you know, you're actually on the road where those tar strips are on the road and the tires going over it and it goes clickety, clackety, clack. You hear that more than you hear the equipment up here.
Once the trees were cleared and excavation completed, the Forest Service began laying in the riprap. More than 20,000 tons of rock were brought in and laid down during that portion of the process. However, the project ran into a snag. During contract negotiations regarding the grout placement, winter had arrived on the mountain.
And right now the grout contractor is in the process of fighting the weather and dealing with snow and pouring grout in the riprap, starting from Davos Way, moving uphill.
Involves utilizing a pumper truck, setting it up to where you've got the maximum reach. The one that we have here has got about a 90-foot reach on each side of this pivot point. Then we back the cement trucks up to the pumper truck, and then we have there's men on the hoses that are filling in the voids with the pumper truck itself.
The weather is causing problems for grout. You know, the weather, the temperature has an effect on whether or not you can place grout. Today's a beautiful day. It's balmy picnic weather, 48 degrees out here. Things are melting, except for the snow. The snow is compacting and sublimating as well as evaporating, so that's a good thing.
In November 2014, there was a rainstorm which dropped nearly 2 inches of rain on the mountain. However, even though the project had not yet been completed, the berm and diversion channel kept the waters out of the neighborhood.
The project is going to work. This project is bulletproof. In fact, we had a discussion yesterday about the decommissioning phase of this project, whenever that turns out to be, 10 years or however many years from now it happens. And the discussion turned to how we might have to come up here and use dynamite to take it apart. And so just considering that, I seriously doubt if we're ever going to have a problem with runoff causing any ill effects to what we've built here. It's going to work just fine. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It is exactly, well, I mean, as close as you can get to the design. The riprap went in, it looks great, it's right to where it needs to be. The slopes look good.
As it nears completion, residents are excited to see the project in place.
God answered my prayers is what it means to me, and I do believe it means that to a lot of people. We're going to have a better quality of life because we're not all living in fear. We're not going to have our homes wiped out again. You don't have to run for the hills, move your car every time a black cloud comes to be, because that's what life's been like up here. I'm not really complaining about it. It wouldn't do any good. It's nature. But it's going to be wonderful not to have to do that.
From Mount Charleston, Nevada, for the Corps of Engineers and for all of our partners on this project, I'm Daniel J. Calderon.